Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Tuesday. You can subscribe to our Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube channel, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you hit the like button on this video as well as our other videos. You can also leave us a rating on iTunes and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. And tell a friend. Today, we're going to talk about the Celtics. They had a tough end of the month, but a pretty good month of April. The Red Sox, great month of April, and we're going to talk about the NFL draft. Mac Jones is here to stay, and we'll get our reactions on that. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
We got Tank Top City today, man. I'm excited. We didn't even plan this.
It's a high 70s.
Didn't even plan it.
The summer is here to stay. We let Zach said "Suns out, guns out." I just got the little water guns going right now. But I don't want to. I don't even compete with this guy on the other side of me right now.
We got shotguns.
Jeez, I'm intimidated. I'm going to be honest with you. So, Danny Football, big week, with the NFL draft, which we're going to get to, but and Celtics, tough week for them to start, but a big end of the week, and big week in sports and Boston sports in general. Like, it was unbelievable.
Really eventful month, man. Really eventful month.
Crazy month of April. It started off with the greatest day of all, my birthday, and then it just got even better, ups and downs from there. We're going to start off with our favorite, the Celtics. The ones we love to hate and hate to love. Day Football, we went 11-5 this month. Before we break down the last week, because I know it was a tough week, general reaction from this month of April.
It was a sneaky good month, apparently. It seemed a lot darker than it was. But like you said, 11-5. Really, considering how banged up we were, surprising. Only 5 losses, 3 of which were back-to-back-to-back, 1 to the Sixers. And then we had that lone one to the Bulls. So, and with the Nets game was a winnable game. So,
right,
like we said before, it's a positive trend. Win more than you lose. Try to stay above 500. They're the 6th seed right now. A couple games back to the 4. 4 games over 500. You'd like to see them be a little more consistent and not drop games like to the Thunder and Hornets, but those games are going to happen. But overall, I mean, it's a positive trend. Like I said, it's encouraging to see. And hopefully they can keep this rolling to the end of the season, kind of improve that seed and get to the playoffs with something to play for.
Yeah, they're only a game and a half. They're only a game and a half out of the 4 seed, so a home game for the first round, home court advantage, I should say. So. I mean, that's the goal, I think. I think that's got to be the goal. Obviously, I don't think they're going to hit the 3 seed. There's no shot. But that 4 seed is right in your reach. That's got to be the goal for the end of the season. And like you said, we're banged up really bad. Like every day, how many games? I don't remember when we've had like the full strength of our whole team in the ball game.
Probably less than 10.
Like Kemba's usually out. JB's been missing games. Time Lord missed a good stretch. Tristan Thompson missed. Fournier missed a bunch since he's got here. The only guy that's played pretty consistently with minus a couple of days off here and there, which I think he needs because he's getting used, is Jayson Tatum. So
and even he missed a good chunk at the beginning of the season.
Right, with COVID. But yeah, so it's like I think it, like you said, it's a sneaky month. 11-5, can't be disappointed. You got to go keep it going. You know what I mean? We got to try to get healthy. We got to try to win a bunch of games. And I think what's proven in the last week or so, like you got to ride Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum's got to be the key to this success. He's stepping up to the plate right now. But if he has a bad game, that's it, man. I don't think you win that night. You know what I mean? He has to be on for you to win.
I mean, he had to drop 60 to drag us back from 32 down. Do you want to kind of break that game down for us?
Yeah.
I know you turned it off and then came back, but
I know. Well, first of all, coming off of those back-to-back, the worst losses I think I've seen in Celtics history in a long time. The OKC game where they're trying to lose games to get the 1 seed. and the Hornets where they were missing LaMelo and Gordon. It was just like terrible losses. I thought the OKC game, like you said, you're gonna have some stinkers.
Yeah.
But I thought after you lost the Hornets game, I was like, all right, OKC, we're gonna bounce back. This is the game we're gonna put away. And instead, it was like we wanted no part of playing in that game. So I think that was a turning point for this. And then I really thought we were gonna come out hot against the Spurs, and we stunk for the first half of the game. Like it was like just terrible, bad effort, playing terribly. And then, what an incredible second half. I admittedly turned it off for a while because I couldn't take it. It was bad for my health. Mentally, it was bad. Shout out, May is Mental Health Awareness Day month.
There we go, guys. Come on.
Little tidbit of information there. But I just had to turn it off because it was just making me so frustrated. But I said, you know what? I got my bearings. I got a little breather in, and I turned it back on, and it was an incredible comeback. A lot of credit to those guys digging deep and coming back because it's very easy in any game that you play. You get down 30, it's very easy to pack it in.
Yeah, pack it in. I was going to say, it's encouraging to see them fight and come back. It's encouraging to see Tatum drop 60. I mean, 60 is a crazy stat line. But I think at the same time, we need to be realistic and see, hey, I mean, is it great they came back? Yes. Is it great that Tatum dropped 60? Yes. But we also went down 32 to the Spurs. So it's a double-edged sword. I mean,
but they're our kryptonite,
right? I know.
We can't seem to beat the Spurs. Like for some reason, the Spurs, even every year, it's like it's tough to beat the Spurs.
But it's kind of been the tale of the season too, with going down big and either clawing our way back and getting that win, or clawing our way back and just barely losing.
Yeah.
So it's a trend that it's gonna probably remain throughout the rest of the season and probably into the playoffs. It depends on how much these guys are going to fight. Are they going to fight all the way back, or are they going to fight just enough that we get close and then lose the game? So I'd like to see them put on more consistent efforts, but if this is how it's going to be, they got to drop 60 like Tatum did. He has to be nails the whole way through.
Yeah, I mean, JB had a terrible game against the Spurs. He had a big shot down the stretch, but like if he's not on, Jason's got to take his weight on, and then the rest of the team. The one thing I will say that's two positives I got out of it was the last few games actually is Naismith.
Naismith has come on, dude. Naismith has come on.
He's getting huge minutes down the stretch. He's playing unbelievable for a rookie. There's a couple plays like I saw. I think even Scal mentioned it. Like he was trying to do a little too much on the defensive side. But I'll take it. He's like I think it was one when he fouled someone, tried to get a charge. He left his man to try to get a charge, but he's hustling. He's trying to get into plays. I love the hustle. He's playing great. Another guy is Time Lord. Check the tape, Danny Football. Check the tape. When Time Lord is playing for the Boston Celtics and plays consistent minutes, they win the game. Check the record. Check the tape. And they won with Time Lord in the game. He just brings some energy. So I've been saying it. I sound like a broken record if you're listening to us every week. It's like we just got to stay healthy. That's the key to everything. We got to stay healthy. We got to get everyone back to health, like Fournier. We got to get him back to health, a healthy level to compete, because he's just looked pretty bad since he came back from COVID. Kemba, we got to get healthy. Time Lord, we got to keep healthy. And another unsung hero, Tristan Thompson, man, 15 rebounds in that game. That's huge. That's why he came here. I don't need him to score 30 points. I just need him to get 10, 15 rebounds a game. Unbelievable.
Like you said, man, we just need everyone to be healthy, and we need everyone to kind of perform to their ceiling. We need Tristan Thompson to be getting those boards, not dropping 30, like you said, but getting boards. We need Rob Williams on the court to kind of bring the energy. We need Naismith to be able to get points off the bench. We need
Pritchard points off the bench.
We need Pritchard points off the bench. We need Fournier to get points off the bench. So we need these guys to be healthy. We also need them to perform so that Jayson Tatum doesn't need to drag the dead carcass of a team to a W every game.
Correct.
So if you head into that first playoff series and all of a sudden everyone's firing on all cylinders, there's no one that can beat this team if they're all playing the lights out.
Right. I think this team is very capable of making a deep run. It's just we got to sometimes get our heads out of our butts and we need to figure it out. Like we need to play hard. We need to stay healthy, which we said, and we got to play to our potential. Like we can't have Jaylen Brown's probably the second best player on this team, I would say, and he can't have barely 14 points through the game and be like shooting like 20%. That can't happen. We need him to.
You're not going to win many games if that's happening.
No, and I mean everyone should be allowed that game here and there.
Right.
Which he's been unbelievable this season, but again, if we want to make a run, you can't have those games down the stretch of the season, especially when we're trying to not only avoid playing in a play-in game, we got to try to avoid we want to get to that home seed for that first round of the playoffs. So, every time I get out, they suck me back in. And I still have this belief until they lose, I'm going to believe that they can make a run at it. Because the East, like the Nets, that's probably the best team, I would say. Like that's going to be a tough series if you play them. But like looking at the seeds ahead of us, like the Hawks, I think we have I'm not scared of the Hawks. I'm not scared of the Knicks, even though they're a sneaky good team. The Bucks always seem to blow it. The 76ers always seem to blow it. So like I'm not the only team I'm like, hopefully we don't play until the East. If we made it luckily to the Eastern Conference Finals, is the Nets. And even then, that's a winnable game, man. You had them on the ropes, and the couple times we played.
100%. It's all going to come down to, at this point, it's can you get hot heading into the playoffs? And then if they can do that, string a couple wins together heading into the playoffs, get as good a seed as you can. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's playing well. You have that winning feeling in the locker room. Anything's possible, man. Yep. You don't want to limp into the playoffs. That's the last thing you want to do. So I think if they can put a run together and we have the most experience of anyone in the East, so we might as well put it to use.
Minus the Nets. I'd say minus the Nets.
Not together, though. Not as a conglomerate unit.
Oh, as
separately, yes. Individually, yes, but not as a team.
True. I think that's a good segue into our next segment, the picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So picks of the week, we're going to pick a game from NBA, stick with the NBA, on Tuesday night. Daily football, who do you got?
I'm going to be going with the two head honchos of the East. I'm going to go Bucks over Nets. I want to see if these guys can't beat the shit out of each other and see if we can't pick the scraps off the loser. But, this is it, dude. This is, like I said, top two teams in the East. Giannis against Durant and Harden and freaking Kyrie. I think the Bucks can pull this one out. They're a great regular season team. Postseason remain to be seen for both of them, but it'll be a good regular season game at least. Kind of see what we're dealing with those two.
I'm gonna go with Daddy Football's team, new team. They're not in first place. Daddy Football, you lied to me on that. They're a half a game out of first, but this could be the game to put them in first place over the Jazz. They're half a game out of first. I'm going Suns over Cavs. Yes, I'm trying to take a little bit of a closer, sure thing.
Go Suns, go, baby.
I'm gonna bet on the Suns, man. Chris Paul, don't let me down.
Don't let me down. Been riding those guys since the offseason. That's a good team, man.
That's a very good team. I hope they make a deep run.
I think they're gonna do some damage, man.
Who would have thought? Looking at the top three seeds in the West.
I thought.
No. I'm just saying in general.
Oh.
Looking at the top three seeds in the West, Jazz, Sun, Nuggets. If you asked me a couple years ago who's going to be the top three seeds, I would never say the Jazz, Suns, Nuggets.
But the Lakers kind of got boned with losing AD and LeBron, but hey, that's what you get.
Clippers too. Clippers fell to 4.
Aging superstar and a guy who was injury prone. It was going to come back to bite you eventually.
Mavs were making a little bit of a run at it.
Yeah, that was good to see.
They're the 5 seed.
That was good to see.
The Lakers are going to end up possibly playing in the play-in game.
I wouldn't mind to see them get bounced right away. That'd be nice.
That'd be unbelievable.
Get them done and done out of our hair.
Poetic justice. Something else worth noting is the Timberwolves, I think they have a top 3 protected. But if they don't get a top 3 pick in the draft, that first round pick next year is going to the Warriors.
Rich get richer, man. Goddamn.
So we need the Timberwolves to just tank. You need to stop winning games, people.
Keep laying down, boys. So talk to your boy Edwards and tell him to stop.
Yeah, shut him down. Shut Cat down, Edwards down, D'Lo down. we can't let the Warriors get a top 5 pick in the draft. I can't remember if it's a top 3 or top 5 protected pick, but I know it's protected pick. I was talking about this with another kid who's a big Timberwolves fan. Yeah, I'm looking at the bottom half of the rankings, and Warriors are 500. They may sneak in. It's looking good at the. I just think it's crazy in the West. Like Jazz, Suns, Nuggets. That's your top 3 teams in the Western Conference.
It's a power shift, man. The conferences it's realigning. People's times are coming.
It really is. It's a realignment in the
Changing
Western
of the
Conference.
guard, baby.
I love it. I hope the Suns I hope the Suns and Jazz both make long playoff pushes the next few years. Moving on to the MLB, a quick recap of the Red Sox first month. Nothing short of unbelievable.
Solid month, dude. Really couldn't have asked for more.
They got off hot. They're playing unbelievable. And I want to start this segment off, Danny Football. I have something to say.
What do we got? You have the floor. Take it.
I want to say I want to make an apology, public apology right now to my man Garrett Richards. I'll admit when I'm wrong, and he had an unbelievable game last week. I forget what his stat line was.
Yeah.
Against the Mets, a talented team. I give credit. He was dealing. He dealt.
He outshot DeGrom. So I mean, you can't really complain.
What are you gonna do? Like I give him a lot of credit. He's pitching today, so it remains to be seen. Give a look at the. There's no updates, so that means no one scored yet. But yeah, I give a lot of credit. Garrett Richards, man, keep it up, buddy. Public apology. Apology.
He's only gave up 1 hit through 1, so here we go. He's already riding.
He's rolling going through this first half of the lineup. So that's. I just want to get that out of the way. I want to tip my cap to Garrett Richards.
Apologize, get it out of the way,
and then we can move on to just talk about how great the Sox.
Great month, man. I mean, 17-10, best record in baseball through April. The lineup has been solid. The pitchers have been getting it done. The bullpen has been a huge surprise outside of Josh Taylor and a couple outings from Matt Barnes. But if Matt Barnes is in a safe situation, he's fine.
Matt Barnes has been. I was gonna say Matt Barnes has been automatic in safe situations.
Automatic in safe situations, unless I'm at Fenway in the bleachers, and then he gives up a 3-run bomb to make it more interesting. But dude, like I said, the bullpen huge surprise. Garrett Whitlock is an absolute animal, man.
Machine.
0.00 ERA. This dude is absolute nails. This whole team, top to bottom. Bobby Dahlbeck seems to be finally getting the bat off his shoulder. And we still have Duran down in Worcester. We still have Houck coming between Boston and Worcester. And dude, it's looking like a solid start to this season so far. I'm liking where this team's at right now.
The thing that I've been most impressed with is, I mean, it's hard. Like I knew coming into it, the offense is what you had to lean on with this team. Like the pitching was unproven.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I didn't believe in it, which I was a little on the fence. But I didn't say, like, I wasn't like, oh, this is like totally out on this team. But I knew you had to ride the offense for this team to be successful. And they're doing just that. They're carrying the load. They're going up against not just scrubs. They're going up against guys like DeGrom and getting wins. That's got to give you confidence going through the season. Like their offense from top to bottom. When you go in looking at 1 through 9. Anyone could hit the ball out of the park. That's number one. Number two, you got to make the pitcher think every single pitch for every single person. It's not like when you get down to the 9th guy, you're like, all right, I can kind of take a couple pitches off and like still be able to get this guy out. I'm just so impressed with this team. I don't want to say they're overperforming, but they're pretty close to, like, they're playing above their ceiling right now, which maybe is their new ceiling. And I'm just impressed. I hope this continues. This team feels special. There's this different air to a different aura to this team than last year.
Vibe, good feelings running around that clubhouse compared to last year and the year before.
Good vibes with this
team.
They're
hungry.
Yeah, and I think they're ticked off, and they really want to prove a lot of people wrong. And I think that starts with the core. I think he's ready to say, all right, my suspension, that doesn't matter. I don't care. We won't use any video and we'll still beat you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm just totally impressed. I'm ready to go. And I hope they continue this going through the rest of the season. They got to keep it up.
I mean, considering that they got swept by the Orioles in the first series of the season, and then immediately go on that 9-game win streak, really turn everything around. You get the guys, feeling good, playing good. And I mean, they cooled off a little bit, a couple split series here and there. Blue Jays, you split. Seattle, you split. But I mean, they could have completely fallen apart. But I think in terms of them overachieving, I wouldn't even call it overachieving because they're still losing games that are close. So it's not like they're completely falling apart at certain points. And it's not like they're, like we said, the offense has been carrying them. There have been games where the offense puts up double digits, and there's been games where the offense puts up 1 and we beat Jacob deGrom. Right. So I think this team's capable of just winning games in different ways. And I think throughout the rest of the season, we'll see that this team will compete. They're going to lose games, but they're going to compete in every single game. They're going to win more than they'll lose, and they're going to find themselves in the postseason, I think. Because I think starting off is so important. I mean, we saw how the 2019 team went when they got off to a completely terrible start. Right. And it kind of just set the tone for the whole season. They could never kind of claw their way out of that hole. But, I mean, great April, 17-10. I mean, they lost yesterday, but 17-11 now, heading into today's game against Texas. They're poised to just take this season by the reins, man, and really see what they can do.
Something interesting to look at: 500 at home, 9-3 away. They're winning games on the road. Danny football. They're
winning away from Fenway. I mean, you still have. I mean, you get swept by the Orioles, so you have 3 Fenway losses right off the bat. So that's it kind of skews the number just a little bit, but yeah.
And the doubleheader losses. So
the White Sox, right? So you have 5 right there. It's kind of right off the bat. But and that's a huge thing, man. I mean, baseball, going on the road is huge because parks are so much different. Right. That I think that's another encouraging part, being able to win on the road.
Right.
I mean, the Fenway numbers will figure themselves out. If they can stay consistent on the road, this is going to be a really good team.
I'm not too worried about that. I just thought it was worth noting, but I think it's definitely.
It's definitely something I wish it was better, but I'm sure by like mid-June it'll even itself out.
Yeah. The other thing is they're coming back from games as well. Mm-hmm. They're they may get in a hole, but it feels like that 2018 team when they would get down, but still like in the 9th inning, they'd come back in a lot of games. So it's very encouraging. It feels a lot like 2019, 2013. It like has that vibe. So I hope they keep it going. And,
even games they lose, man, they can be down maybe 4-0. All of a sudden they make it 4-3. Yeah, they lost, but they could have just rolled over and let it be 4-0. Right. They come back, make it 4-3. Go down to your last at bat. Why not? So, I mean, I think the mentality with this team is right where it needs to be. And I think there's going to be a lot of games where, you're down a little bit, but they're not going to just pack it in. They're going to say, we can still do this. Our lineup's good enough. Our bullpen's good enough. We can still win this game, and they're going to win those games.
A little bit of a hot button topic. I have a question. I just thought of this for you. Off not really Red Sox related, MLB related. We saw that Bum got a no-hitter through 7.
That's
no-hitter
right.
through 7. Do you think that should count? That's like a very hot button issue that I've heard about the last.
My take is that it should count if MLB is gonna set the doubleheader games at 7 innings, and if that's the official length of the game, he pitched a no-hitter the length of the game. It's not his fault. It's not a 9-inning game.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, it should have counted. I get why they're not counting it, but it doesn't really make sense because, I mean, like I said, MLB is the one that set the standard for 7-inning doubleheaders. Well, there's nothing else the guy could have done. Unless the game was 0-0 going into the 7th and then they played two more innings of extras. I don't know what they wanted him to do.
Right. I go back and forth. Like, originally I was like, no way, it counts. He pitched. It does say in the rules, so I understand, like, they can't say it. But to me, like, it counts as a no-hitter. he went the
from
length
the
of the
first
game.
batter of the game to the last batter of the game without giving up a hit. That's the way I
Right.
see it.
Yeah.
It sucks that it was a 7-inning game. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that there are 6 more outs that he hypothetically had to get, but
Right.
he had no control over that.
Right. And I mean, the point that kind of made a good point to me that someone said was, when is the most of no-hitters, like deep no-hitters, like
Broken
stopped?
up. Yeah, that's a good
The
point.
8th and 9th inning. So like he skipped the 8th and 9th inning to get the, you know what I mean? So I get it. Is it as impressive as when Clay Buchholz gave up a no-hitter? I don't think so, because he pitched 9 innings. You know what I mean? Or John
There
Lester.
definitely would have been a difference if they had actually counted it. It would have been like, all right, well, it's a 7-inning no-hitter. I just think it's crazy that they just don't count it at all.
Yeah. Even he mentioned it. He's like, thanks to Rob Manfred for making these 7-inning games.
Right.
I was able to get out of there early. So like even he kind of playfully acknowledged it. He's like, oh, I didn't have to get through those last 6 outs, but he did it. It counts. It's in the way I see it is like, it's not like he could go out there and pitch 2 more innings if he wanted to. They
The
stopped
rules are the
game.
rules, man. I mean, it is what it is.
Jordan's Furniture came out and said, because they got the no-hitter thing going on.
Oh, that's right.
He's like, they just said, just to clarify, it has to be 9-inning games. They're not trying to give away any furniture this season.
God.
But yeah, I just thought of that. I was like, that's an interesting debate that's been
Yeah,
going on.
that was definitely a crazy circumstance. I did remember what I thought about that.
Moving on to, I think, what everyone is talking about this season, this week, the NFL draft. Leading up to the NFL draft, before we get into the Patriots crux of it, there was a bunch of rumors circulating around about trades of established quarterbacks. It started off with Jimmy G. It was pretty much a done deal, it sounded like, going to New England. That, the day before the draft, everyone was saying they were working out a deal. Like Bill was working with Jimmy to restructure a deal and come out with a new contract. So, which was what we said. He's not going to trade for that current contract. He's going to new one.
Right.
But nothing happened. Draft day happened. Obviously, we'll talk about it, but we drafted a quarterback, presumably is the quarterback in the future. And we stayed silent on that. So I don't know what's up with Jimmy G. Like the way they've circulated, like trading him away is absolutely unheard of. And they kind of given him, I think, no belief. They've showed no belief in Jimmy. Like people in San Francisco, I think a fan vote was held like on their local sports. Like it would be like our, whatever, what's the NBC Boston or our local sports station where the Celtics are on and
NBC
like
NBC
Boston or whatever, on their local sports station, it was like 75 or 80% of San Francisco 49ers fans didn't want Jimmy G on their team to start the season. That's unbelievable.
And it's sad considering that not only did they trade for him, they extended him, gave him huge money. He blows out his knee. They bring him back. He brings him to a Super Bowl, underperforms for one season afterwards, and they're just out on the guy. They're out on him. They're done.
It's unbelievable.
Evident in how the draft went. They're done.
And it's not even – I don't even put a lot of the 49ers' non-success on Jimmy last year. The first game or really early in the season, Nick Bosa gets hurt and he's out after like week 1. Richard Sherman was out. They were really banged up. George Kittle, remember, got hurt. They're not out on George Kittle. It's like it's not all Jimmy. Like Jimmy's not really the problem there. Maybe they do need to start looking for the future, and that's why they drafted Trey Lance, which I was actually shocked that they drafted Trey Lance.
I was really shocked. I thought they were really sold on Mac Jones.
Nothing against Trey Lance. I thought he was really good. I thought he was I really favored him a lot in comparisons to different quarterbacks. But they took Trey Lance. So maybe he's the guy of the future. But I don't get what all the rush is to make Trey Lance a starter week 1. Have Jimmy start.
There shouldn't be any rush. He should definitely be sitting for as long as he possibly can. I mean, I get if Jimmy goes out there and completely sucks, but it's one thing if, Jimmy Garoppolo is still a serviceable quarterback in the league. He can still go out there and win you some games. I don't know what the Niners are looking at this year. I don't know if I would hope they're not expecting to, go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. They're definitely going to struggle. They're definitely not going to win the Super Bowl, but I would still play Jimmy, let Trey Lance learn, and then maybe next season you pull the trigger. But there should be no rush to get Trey Lance to be the starting quarterback week 1.
So it will be interesting to see where Jimmy goes, what Jimmy does, what their plan with Jimmy is, because it's very up and down. Like it's either one day we're trading him, next day no, he's our guy. Trading him, no, we're gonna keep him for next year. It's very.
What's his value really now, especially after the draft? There's really nowhere for him to go. He's going to have to go for somewhere as a backup.
Right. And it's like, I don't think you can, because like going into it, it's like, all right, we'll trade you like a second round pick in this year's draft. I don't think they're going to be so. Everyone drafted the guy they wanted. Now they're not going to be like, you know what? I kind of want. There's no team that I think is desperate for a quarterback right now.
No. So
you
he's gonna have to find another situation where he, like Teddy Bridgewater or Ryan Fitzpatrick or something like that, where maybe he can find lightning in a bottle. But as far as I'm concerned, his days as starting quarterback are numbered.
But even then, it's like it's too late. Like those guys are like teams already have a quarterback. I don't think any team's going to trade for Jimmy. I really don't.
No, I'm not even talking trade anymore. Like he's just gonna have to get signed somewhere else as a backup.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to. He's still got a few years on his deal, unless they cut him loose. We'll have to see. The other guy that I wanted to mention was Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers came out and said publicly, "I am not playing for the Green Bay Packers." It came as kind of a shock because it was the day before the draft, or the day of. It came out the day of the draft. I don't think that's ironic. I think that came out for a reason. I think they were trying to make some moves that day to get like up in the draft. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen with him because it's like we said, it's kind of too late. It's like everyone's kind of set. He's very disgruntled. I heard, if he isn't traded, he's going to retire. I've heard that, he'll play if the GM gets fired. He'll play like it's absolutely it's a crazy situation, and it's terrible because the Packers were, a Aaron Rodgers dive away from being in the Super Bowl or having a chance at the Super Bowl. Like
right.
It's like if he dives for the pylon in that last end of the game, like maybe we're not talking about the Bucs being such a big success. You know what I mean? It's like, so I don't know, man. It's definitely tough times in Green Bay. I just don't know what the future is for that franchise.
So I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers guy. I kind of think I think he's overrated. I don't think he's as good
MVP.
I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is, or other people think that he is. So I think it's just typical Aaron Rodgers to air his grievances right before the draft, see if he can strong arm the Packers into making a move. But I mean, he's not going to. I thought it was going to make the draft a little more, exciting. There's an extra kind of caveat with Aaron Rodgers floating around. Maybe teams make moves. Maybe a team in the top 5 says, F it, we'll just take Aaron Rodgers as a sure thing. But, I mean, I'm not a fan of the dude. So him trying to kind of weasel his way out of Green Bay, I get that the dude's frustrated. I mean, they just don't get him weapons. They draft his replacement. They draft another running back. They refuse to get him wide receivers. They refuse to get him any more help. But, I mean, at the same time, this dude runs around like he's Tom Brady's equal, which he isn't, not even close. And this dude only has 1 Super Bowl ring. I mean, I don't understand where this dude gets off thinking that he's one of the greatest players to ever grace the field. It isn't the case.
Yeah, he's very talented. He's a very talented player.
He's incredibly talented, and
Where would you rank him in the quarterbacks of the league right now? If you had to say he's this ranked quarterback in the league.
See, we went through this with Breeze.
Well, that was like all time. We went through all time.
I mean, he's an all-time talent. Don't get me wrong. He's an all-time talent.
No, I'm not. I know that. I'm saying currently, right now in the league, where do you rank him in the league amongst quarterbacks in the league right now? Not talking all time. Like
he's probably. I'd put Brady has to be 1. Brady's still the man. I'd put Russ before him. You
got to put Mahomes before him.
I put Mahomes before him. I'd maybe put Josh Allen before him now. And Lamar.
Man, that's close. That's kind of tough.
I think they have more upside than he does at this point, dude.
They have upside, yeah, but current talent right now, I think Aaron Rodgers has to be like the fourth best quarterback in the league, unless I'm forgetting about someone.
I don't know.
Like I think I came up with the same names: Mahomes, Brady, and
he's an MVP, but I don't know if I would want him on my team to if I was a GM and I was under, if the fire was under my ass to win a championship, he wouldn't be my first pick. I don't trust,
but
I don't
available.
Trust, yeah, but I don't trust him to win a championship.
I would take him on the Patriots. I would take him on the Patriots 100%.
Right, but yeah, I mean, with the team we have now, I'd take him. But if I was Buffalo, I wouldn't trade Josh Allen for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, because he's younger and he's.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I would rather have Josh Allen than Aaron Rodgers right now.
But for one season, like I would take Aaron. I think he's the best. He's the fourth best quarterback in the league. I think, and it has potential to be higher. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I get it. I'm not a fan of him, and I don't think he's built to win championships. I think he's such an individual accolades guy that I don't think he wins another Super Bowl. So
yeah, I've said this to you on a show. I do not like Aaron Rodgers one bit, and I hate that I'm forced to defend this man at every turn for the last year and a half. I really hate it. Since last year's draft, I've had to defend him tooth and nail, and I hate it because I don't like him. I just don't like him.
To me, he's just, I don't know, man. Like
you can win all the
MVPs you want, but when you have one Super Bowl and you think you're Tom Brady, you're not Tom Brady.
No, he's no ways close. The people that
say
he's like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I think that's my biggest problem is that people try to make it like it's close. It's not.
Where did you have him on the all-time list?
I'd have to go back.
I forget. I'd
put him top 10. I definitely put him top 10. But
I remember you said, because that was the argument. You said he's way better than Breeze, and I was like, I think he's very similar to Breeze. I think him and Drew Brees are very similar.
See, but the thing is with Breeze is more team. I would say Breeze is more of a team guy than Aaron Rodgers. I'd rather have Drew Brees on my team than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers is I'd say he's more talented than Drew Brees. Yeah. But if I was a GM and I was like, I need to win now, I'd rather have Drew Brees.
100%. That's why I had Drew Brees ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Barely. I think when I have to go back and listen, but thinking about it right now, I'd put Aaron Rodgers a slight around Drew Brees. I think you could make the argument either way. Like I think it's very similar. They both have one championship. They're both, like you said, very regular season type quarterbacks, getting like stat stuffer quarterbacks is like what I like to say. They're not really like they never have had a great playoff record, like playoff history, except for the 1 year that they won.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. I agree. I agree with you on that part. I do think if you're a team like the Patriots before they drafted Mac Jones, even if they got rid, I see it's tough with Aaron Rodgers because now you're putting yourself in a Brady situation, not comparing him to Brady, but like how we were a couple years ago when we had Brady and Jimmy, and Brady performed so well, and you had Jimmy G sitting there, and you had to make a decision. You went with Brady,
right?
Like now if you trade now that you have Mac Jones, it's like even if you got rid of Cam, it's like now you have Aaron Rodgers and Mac Jones. It's good for this year because you're going to hopefully sit Mac Jones for a year to help him learn. But then what happens next year and the year after if Aaron Rodgers keeps winning MVPs and performs well, or they win a Super Bowl, or they make it to the Super Bowl? It's tough. I don't know. I was rooting for the Patriots to make a move for Aaron Rodgers, but I think there's other teams that should make a move for him. And I have my prediction. I don't want to.
I think it's just that the Patriots are in such a unique position where they could have just as easily tried to get Aaron Rodgers to kind of win now, but we're also set up for the future. So I feel like going into the draft, it was, we can either sell out and get Aaron Rodgers to win now, or we can just stand pat, take our quarterback, and build for the future. I think we're in a place where we could have done both, and we just picked a path.
And I think it's kind of set up how Bill wanted to set up. He's been building for the future. He's been building to make. I saw a headline, Patriots Dynasty 3.0. So he's setting up for this third stage of the Patriots like a new dynasty era. And you're right. We could have gone. I think it would have been a win now, but I feel like it also in some regards would have went backwards a little bit.
Right.
Because then
right.
you're like going back to where you were, spending all the money, like how last year we had to just kind of like eat it and get back under the cap and like have cap space. But I'm not gonna say where I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna go. My prediction if he leaves, because that's a people's topic question.
Okay.
But I do have a place, and I think based on the draft, how a certain team picked, I think I have a prediction where he possibly may go.
I like that. A little tease,
So,
a little tease.
a little tease for the stay tuned to the end of the show. But let's get into the Patriots draft. I think they had a really good draft. I'm happy with what we got. We'll get into breaking down Mac Jones, but like I like Christian from Alabama, the defensive tackle in the second round. I think he's going to be a stud for us on the edge. I'm not on the edge, but just in the middle, clogging up the middle. Defensive end from Oklahoma in the third round. I like him, Ronnie Perkins. I think he's going to be a stud. Just all around, even the running back from Oklahoma, I really like. I don't think he's going to do much, but Sony Michel, we talked about it earlier before the show. Patriots may not pick up his option. James White signed a 1-year deal, so who knows if he's going to leave or not.
Mm-hmm.
We got we have some decent pieces, but this guy Stevenson may be that guy of the future. And Bill even came out and mentioned you take the best guy available. I think right before this day of the draft, he's like, you take the best guy available. When we took Damian Harris, everyone was like, why are you taking Damian Harris? It's like, we have him sit for a year. Then he has a stud year. Same thing with James White. You take James White, he sat for a year. Then kind of the next year after, he was a Super Bowl hero. So it's, he likes taking running backs. You can never have enough running backs. And, I even that pick I like. I like, everyone in this, like going down the list, Cameron McGrone, the linebacker out of Michigan, the safety out of Missouri, an offensive tackle to help, beef up the offensive line. And then we even got a wide receiver with our last pick. So overall, I thought it was a good draft.
I thought it was a solid draft. I liked kind of like the mix of refilling the defense, adding one more depth guy on the offensive side of the ball. But I mean, even the O-line move, the wide receiver move, good depth picks. And like I said, I like that we reset the defense. But if we kind of want to dive into the Mac Jones pick, I mean, I was on the record of wanting to cause harm to myself if we had ended up with Mac Jones, considering that we were closing in on Fields and Jones was still available, and then the Bears out of nowhere just kind of fucked things up. I kind of, like we said before the show started, I've talked myself into it because considering, and I told you this, I think the plan going in was, whichever quarterback's available, we're going to take them. And as it came down to it, Trey Lance goes 3, big surprise.
Huge surprise.
So then coming down to it, Fields and Jones were there. It was looking like there was no one left to stop us from taking one of the two until Chicago comes out of nowhere. They take Fields. Jones is there. They take Jones. I think it was just as simple as that. So yeah. I think the Pats got their guy, whether he was their first choice, but I definitely think they did enough research on him that they were comfortable with taking him or they wouldn't have taken him. So I'm going to trust Bill. I'm going to trust Nick Saban. I'm going to trust the Alabama process of being a pro-style offense, and I'm going to trust Mac Jones.
I've talked myself into it because I think this guy's going to be around. I think this guy could be around for the next, 7 to 10 years as our starting quarterback. I really do. I think, you take a guy in the first round, you hope he's your guy, and he's going to be the guy of the future. I disagree a little bit with you, Danny Football. As much as my guy was Justin Fields, I think Bill's guy all along was Mac Jones. I really do. And especially
I wouldn't be shocked considering the relationship he has with Nick Saban. I wouldn't be shocked.
Right. There's too many parallels to me for this guy.
Do you think if it was Fields and Jones at 15, he still would have taken Jones?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just have this feeling. I don't think it was enough to trade up, but as soon as he saw Mac Jones not get Trey Lance go 3, I think it was Mac Jones was his guy all the way. I don't think he wanted Fields.
Because I was convinced Jones was going 3.
I
I
was
thought the
convinced too.
49ers were all the way in on him.
I'm not. That's I think the one thing. I think Bill isn't enough to trade up to 3 to get Mac Jones. But if Mac Jones and Fields are available, he takes Mac Jones. Let's look at the similarities. Number 1, Nick Saban. I think it's pretty easy to go with that. Nick Saban, Bill are great friends. He's probably heard a lot about this guy. You know, they've probably been talking for years about this kid. And I think that was just a no-brainer. Best friends, I think he's going to take him. Bill went to one pro day, and his name was Mac Jones. He didn't go to Fields.
That's right.
He didn't go to anyone else. He went to Mac Jones's pro day, no one else. The rumors came out that they were interested in Fields, and then a day before, it was like, no, they're not into Fields. I think they threw that spin zone out to, I think that's just fake news. I think they were all about Mac Jones the whole time. He only saw Mac Jones throw. He's friends with Nick Saban. He's the type of quarterback Mac Jones is. He doesn't turn the ball over. He is a game manager, pocket passer kind of quarterback and is smart between the years. I think that's the prototypical quarterback for the system that has worked. We've tried the running system last year. It didn't work. We're not good at it. So I think we can go back to a lot of things we did with Tom. I'm not saying Mac Jones is Tom Brady or will be the greatest quarterback of all time or the second greatest quarterback of all time. But I think you can go back to the playbook and run a lot of that stuff that we used to run with Tom.
Right, a lot more, less
like
RPOs with Cam and more, dynamic throwing options. In regards to Jones, what do you think is a good kind of comp for him? Where do you see him as like a blank type? He's obviously not going to be Tom Brady. Let's get that.
I think he relates a lot to Tom, but he's not going to be Tom Brady.
Right.
I think the type of play. I think it compares to Tom coming in from the draft. That's a better comp. He was a pocket guy. He has his arm, like they said about Tom's, is kind of a noodle arm. He can't really sling it in, but he makes accurate throws. He knows what he does. I think he's pretty good at knowing when to make the pass. He doesn't force it.
Man, he knows how to win.
He's a winner. Something interesting. I know we're talking about this. I just thought of this real quick. Someone meant a crazy stat. Trevor Lawrence has never lost a regular season game in his career. He's gonna, unless they go 16-0 next year, the Jags, which isn't going to happen. Trevor Lawrence will lose his first ever regular season game in his career. Fun fact: never lost in high school.
I did see that tweet that he hasn't lost since middle school or high school.
Pretty nuts. He never lost in high school, never lost in college. But getting back to Mac Jones, I think he kind of relates to Tom how he came in. He's a smart guy. He doesn't throw the ball. He's not going to wow you. He's not going to make some unbelievable running play like a Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or Fields. But I think where he lacks with that, I think he makes up with his smart, intelligent play. He's also a psycho. I've heard stories about him. The kid is he's a competitor. I think he's a competitive psycho. He told Nick Saban, did you hear the story about when they were practicing one time?
I did not.
He kept throwing 50-yard bombs, beating the defensive backs. And Nick Saban said, stop throwing it deep. He said, well, have your defensive backs stop me. He told Nick Saban, have your defense stop me. One of the greatest college coaches of all time, he told them, have your defense play better. He's a psychopath. He got thrown out of a intramural game in college. I heard that the other, a flag football game he got thrown out of because he was talking so much crap. He's just a psychopath. So I think this is where I think it's going to be better than Stidham. I think Stidham
God, I don't think it's close.
Well, no, I understand, but mentally, looking at just the mental aspects, last year we said Jarrett Stidham was the guy, and then Cam Newton came in.
I did not say that.
No. Before Cam Newton came in, we said Jarrett Stidham was going to be the starting quarterback, and then Cam came in. I think Mac Jones, as much as he said, I love Cam, I can't wait to learn from him, I feel like when Mac Jones steps on the field in minicamp, he's going to be like, I'm taking your job.
Oh, 1,000%.
I think that's the mentality. Jarrett Stidham doesn't have that mentality.
It's a winnable job. I mean,
it's a very winnable
job. Do you think he should start week 1?
No.
Okay.
I'm
in agreement with that.
Unless your name is Trevor Lawrence, I think your quarterback should be sitting. Your rookie quarterback should be sitting.
I think Justin Fields could start week 1 too if he really wanted to. I don't know if the Bears should do it, but I think he
Who's
could.
Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton's in the Bears?
Andy Dalton and Foles?
Foles is still there. I would go Andy Dalton for week 1. I'd still go Andy Dalton just to get this guy learning a little bit. I think, especially when you're in Chicago, that's throwing him to the wolves, man. Like, that team is not good. So I think, with Lawrence, it's like, who else do you have? Maybe you start Gardner Minshew, but I don't think you can being the number 1 pick. Like, I think
it'd
be a bad look.
Having that tag as the number 1 pick, I think the fan base, the front office, everyone kind of wants to just get him out there.
Yeah.
So I think it'll just be the Trevor Lawrence show there. Everyone else is in a situation where they could probably sit for a little bit.
And, I think the Pats are in a win-win scenario. Let's look at it. If they start Cam, they're going to trot out Cam week 1. I think there's no question about it. Let's say they lose, they go 0-3 to start the season. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's say they go 0-3 this season. Then you can have the conversation. All right, let's go Mac Jones. Let's throw him in. Let's give him a chance. They go 3-0. Mac Jones gets to learn a little more. We're winning. Cam gets confidence, and then I have a lot more faith going down the season. Well, I don't know. I go back and forth. I'd rather have an experienced quarterback.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him sit for a little bit just to kind of learn.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, Mac Jones is going to be heavily protected. Like, that offensive line looks really good,
right?
And the weapons are pretty good too. But he's going to be well protected.
I love that he's going to have those 2 tight ends. I love that he's going to have Henry and Smith, because even if he can't make those. Even if he can't hit his first couple of reads, he can just check down to those guys every single time.
And James White.
Perfect safety blankets.
Yeah, you have 3 guys that are going to be within 5 yards that you can check it down to get some yardage. So, and that's for Cam too. Like, I have confidence that Cam can do that too, like little check downs.
But I'm more happy that a young kid's going to have those options.
Right.
I agree. Just to close it out, just to kind of close the Mac Jones talk, because I know it was kind of, it wasn't a huge debate with him, but people wanted who they wanted. I kind of see him as a Matt Ryan type. I think he's going to be a good competitor, solid, sustainable, reliable. And, Matt Ryan, we saw it in the Super Bowl, 28-3. He was right there. He's a former MVP. So I think just to kind of eliminate Tom, because I don't think people should be saying he's the next Tom Brady. No one's going to be the next Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But when I look at Mac Jones, I think Matt Ryan, and honestly, man, if he can be even close to Matt Ryan or better, that's huge.
Yeah. I want to reiterate, I don't think he's going to be the next Tom Brady.
No, but there are definitely people out there who are like putting those expectations on him, and that's just not fair.
That's not fair. I think you just got to look at it as he's a new player. Yep. If he can help us win games, I'll give him you always give the rookie. I think you got to give a rookie quarterback a little bit of a pass going into their first year and first couple of games. But, I think he's a great pocket passer. He makes smart decisions. He's not going to throw it really hard, but you know what? He's going to compete and he's going to make the smart throws. Man.
Top 15 pick, first quarterback taken by the Pats in the first round since Drew Bledsoe. So this is all new to us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think he's going to.
I'm ready to ride. Mac Jones, the BRZ is behind you.
Yep, supportive. Come on the pod and show your support too.
We're the Time Lord podcast and the Mac Jones podcast.
So we're going to move on to our last segment of the night. So for People's Topic, remember, you can write in every week on our Instagram or Twitter page at Big Red Zone. We'll discuss it, and make sure you hit the follow on us as well. We got a couple People's Topics. I'm going to start with the one I teased a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we got to give the people what they want.
This comes from the one and only this is from...
That was a tease.
This comes from... I was going to give the Mrs. Big Red gave one, but that one didn't come from Mrs. Big Red. This one comes from my good friend Jack, not Jack Moran, but other Jack Mannion. He goes, "Where are Aaron Rodgers' most likely destinations if he's going to be traded?"
All right, take the floor, my man.
I think there's one team that I thought was without a doubt, not without a doubt, but was a very good chance of taking Mac Jones or Justin Fields in the draft. And they are the Denver Broncos.
Oh,
I think Denver has been rumored to already have offered them a great contract, a great deal. They have Drew Lock. but I don't know if they're completely sold on him. We already know that Denver Elway loves to pull in these veteran, solid QBs to make runs at the end of their career. He's done it with Peyton. He tried to do it with Brady, I think. Maybe if it was warmer there, he would have went there. I just think that it makes too much sense for him to go to Denver. Between A, that was one of the teams he wanted to go. B, Denver offered a huge deal for them. Probably the most enticing deal I've heard, rumored. I didn't hear the deal, but that was the word on the street. Culture of Denver, bringing in veteran stud quarterbacks, and also they didn't take a quarterback in the first round. They took a defense. I forget what they took. A defensive back. I think they took a defensive. Quick. I think they took a defensive guy.
That sounds right. I think it was a cornerback.
Yeah, I think they took one of the top cornerbacks in the draft. But I'm going with the Denver Broncos if he gets traded. But right now, I think we have a little bit of a Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson kind of standoff right now. Ooh. That either you can leave and you won't get paid, or you can play for us and keep going. I think that's what we got right now.
For me, they're just, like we've said, there's so few options. I think maybe, like you said, at Houston, if things really do fall apart with Watson, maybe Houston makes a move for him.
Maybe they do a trade.
Maybe even Deshaun New Orleans, Watson. If things don't work out with Winston and maybe Hill doesn't kind of show them something. But like we said, man, the market's limited. So outside of like Denver, Houston, and maybe New Orleans, Detroit could do it, but they just hate winning football games. So
they just got Goff.
Yeah, it's a really limited market. So he, like I said, he can strong arm, but there's really nowhere for him to go.
I think I like the Houston pick. Like they could just swap problems and be like, all right, let's I'll take Deshaun Watson, a younger quarterback that Deshaun Watson wants out. I'm sure he would love to play with another stud receiver in Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. And then, Rodgers goes to Houston. Maybe that's the trick, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers would want to go to Houston.
No, and that's going to be the problem. If they hypothetically could move him, I'm sure he would say no to almost anywhere they offered.
Yeah, unless it's one of he gave 3 teams, and I know one of them is Denver. He wants to be a TV game show host too, so he could end up in Jeopardy. This comes from Mrs. Big Red.
Woo!
What's a new nickname for Mac Jones? Give a nickname for Mac Jones.
I've seen like people throwing Mac 10 around. I don't even know, man. There's like a Mac Daddy one.
I saw Mac Daddy.
Mac Daddy's good. Maction was a crazy one.
Mac and cheese.
Lights, camera, Maction. I like Mac Daddy. I'll ride with Mac Daddy.
I like that or Mac 10. I like that if he goes number 10 for this year.
Oh yeah, if he goes Mac number 10, that's
Mac 10.
That's easy. That's easy money. But I'll go Mac Daddy for now. If he actually does go number 10, then we'll have to discuss that again.
This one comes from fan favorite Dennis Bagels, or Bagels, if you will. Would you give up the 28-3 Super Bowl for the 16-0 Super Bowl?
In a heartbeat, without even thinking about it. I'd give anything to get that undefeated season. God damn it, man.
Yeah, that was
because I always view that Super Bowl as us getting that one back. So as if I could switch them and just make it a wash anyway, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think I would do that too. As much as the 28-3 is just a total like holdover.
Because if you think about it, we get the undefeated season, and then we just get blown out by the Falcons. Like it is what it is.
But that was also the year that Tom Brady came back from being suspended. It was a big middle finger to the.
We would have gotten Moss would have gotten a ring. Welker could have gotten a ring. We could have gotten Sale a ring.
If Welker could have made a catch at the end of the game, then I would say he deserved it. No, he deserved it.
We don't hate US. Come on.
No, I do wish you made that one catch.
Right. It would have been nice.
If you could have made one catch in your whole career, I wish you could make it. That's why Julian Edelman's better. So, thank you. I think that's all the people's topics we had. So thank you, Mrs. Big Red, Jack, and Bagels. Remember, you can write in every week on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone for the people's topic. And make sure you go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, and hit the like button on this video as well as other videos. And Danny Football,
Tell one
tell a
friend, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4, however many you're feeling.
just one. My thanks to Danny Football for joining again this week.
Enjoy that sun, my man.
Oh, I will. Hopefully I can get to I want to try to get to see the Sox game this week.
Ooh.
For our
that's
boy
right,
Zach
that's right.
Short. With that said, have a great week, everyone.